All right. Tonight's homework is multiplying decimals. We talked about this in class today, but we went over it quickly. I know there were a lot of questions. So for each problem tonight, there are two parts to it. The first part, you're counting up how many digits appear after a decimal point. So if we're looking here, we have 4/10 times 1 and 8/10, or 0.4 times 1.8. So if I'm counting digits that come after a decimal point, I have 1, 2. So my answer to this first part is going to be 2. On the right here, now I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply this just like I would a regular problem. I'm going to do 4 times 8, and that's 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So for my digits, I have 72. But now to figure out where the decimal point goes, I have to look over on the left, and I know that there are 2 digits that come after a decimal point. So what I do to figure out where the decimal point should go is I start here at the end of my number, and I just move back the same amount of spaces as there are digits after a decimal point. So I moved over 1, 2 spaces. So my answer here is 0.72. Oops, I should make my 2 a little bit better there. Or 72 hundredths. If we scroll down to problem number 2, we're going to follow the same order. So I have 9 times 1.2, or 9 times 1 2/10. So my first part is how many digits appear after a decimal point. So there's no decimal in 9. I move over to 1.2. There's one number that comes after a decimal point. So my answer here is 1. This problem's asking me to set up the multiplication for myself. So I'm going to put 9 on the bottom because it's only one digit. That'll make this problem way easier for me. I'm going to put 1.2 up in the top. And now I'm just going to multiply. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So now for my digits, I have 108. Looking over to the left, I see that I had one number that comes after a decimal point. So if I start here at the end of my number and just move the decimal point over once, I'm going to end up with a decimal point between a 0 and an 8, which means my answer is 10.8.